Well, hello everyone, and welcome to February's Partner Spotlight interview. Sorry we're a little bit late. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we figured it out, and here we are. So I am super excited to introduce our partner, Scott Schaaf. Scott has been a great partner with us. He's got hundreds of clients, and Scott and I spoke last week before the interview, to go over some of the things that we're going to discuss, and I was literally blown away by everything he said. I mean, I learned so much on the call myself. We talked for like 45 minutes, so I'm really excited to share his knowledge with you guys. So, since we've
We
got
did talk for a
Scott
long time
live,
on that first call.
yeah, we did. So hopefully we can recreate that. But since we're live, don't forget to have your questions ready for Scott because we get to pick his brain while we've got him here. He's a busy guy, so this is the only time we've got him. So Scott, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, thank you.
So tell us a little bit about how you got started in the credit restoration industry.
So it's actually a very, very interesting story. Me and a buddy of mine, we bought a franchise, a credit repair franchise, believe it or not. Now we know now, obviously, that you don't need to do that, of course, but we didn't really know anything when we got started. So we paid $20,000 for a franchise with a company out in California, and we were set up with them, but we did not have the luxury of taking credit cards. We only took checks, real actual checks that people had to write out with a pen and paper and mail it in. So first year in the business, taking only checks and no residual income, no monthly payments or anything like that. Made over $100,000 in sales with nothing but a cell phone, a Gmail account, and getting people to mail in checks. I used to tell them to call with the tracking number, and that would be verification just to verify they sent in some money. But looking back, it was very interesting.
In 1 year, and you don't have anything automated. You're just cashing checks. I mean, that just goes to show that when you've got your mindset on a goal, it can be accomplished. You just got to hustle.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hold on, my audio went out there.
Oh, so I think
Oh,
I was
now it's
muted.
back. Did you hit mute?
Yeah, I was muted. So
Oh,
my
okay.
question was, what were some of the biggest challenges that you had when you started your business?
Biggest challenges. That's a good question. There's a lot of challenges actually. That's the key, I think, in being a successful business owner. Is you're going to have challenges that come across your desk every day. The key is knowing how to figure out those challenges and overcoming them. So, number one was the whole credit card issue. Number two was we didn't really have a software that we were using. And actually, number three, which is SmartCredit, we didn't do credit monitoring. We didn't know about this whole credit monitoring where you have someone sign up and the login, email, and password. We weren't doing that. We relied solely on the mortgage broker credit reports so that they would send. But we would occasionally go into, but we would have the mortgage brokers pull their report again, or we would just log into. There was no systematic way to do things where you have a partner like SmartCredit, and man, let me tell you, that is huge. I mean, with all the features you guys have, I mean, it's a world of a difference to be able to just link up to you guys and be able to see the reports as you like. The unlimited TransUnion tools is amazing. That's something that I don't think a lot. It's actually labeled as a smart credit report that's in there as well. So that was huge. I mean, it comes with the $1 million insurance policy for identity fraud for them and their whole family. But one of the other things is that the money manager, I mean, the money manager literally link up with all their financial accounts, which is huge because if we want to check on things like their utilization, or if we want to just put them in the habit of paying their bills on time each month, that was huge as well. So those are some of the things. I mean, smart credit came in big time. When it came to that, monitoring is very important.
So it sounds like we helped you with a lot of the challenges you were having in the
Oh
beginning.
yeah.
Help you automate a lot of that. That's good.
Oh,
So,
actually, and one more. Glad you said. Okay, so challenges was credit card utilization is very, very important. Okay, so people don't realize the amount of money you spend on your credit card in relation to the limit is a big deal, right? So your utilization is your balance divided by your limit, and then you can multiply by 100 or move the decimal place over 2 points. But if you have $1,000 limit credit card and your balance is 500, you have a 50% utilization. So if you have a $10,000 credit card and it's at 2,000 balance, you would have a 20% utilization. So the number you hear is very popular, stay under 30%, or under 10% or under 5%, you get something higher. Really, I mean, you want to keep it at 0 or 1%. I mean, everything you want to get any, you have to have a 0 balance on all your cards, 1% utilization on one card. As soon as you spend a little, they go down a little. When you spend more, they go down. It's seesaw. But anyways, the point, the challenge is that on Smart Credit, you'll see it'll say date reported. And you pull up the 3-0 report. And if you look at that day of the month, so if it says day reported 2/12/2021, that means that credit card reports on the 12th of the month, meaning the credit bureau reports the balance to the world on the 12th of the month. So, but the thing is that if you go into trying to, let's say you have a customer that's using Smart Credit and they have 10 credit cards that are open and their balances are all over the place. Well, how are you going to expect that person when to pay? Because guess what? You want to have the balance lower, but it's not when you pay by the due date, your credit card company. It's when the statement closes. So that date reported on Smart Credit is when they report to the world for everyone to see. But 4 days before that day, the date reported is when the statement closes. So Smart Credit actually is able to find out when the statement closes for all of those accounts, and then 1 to 4 days later is when the date reported is. So you can actually go into Smart Credit and you can put on scores and score masters. Okay,
yep.
and then and then you drag the arrow all the way to the right. So you want your scores as high as they'll go. And then under that, it's going to give you all of the credit cards and scorecards, and it'll go by this many points if you pay this amount by this date. I tell everyone focus on that day of the month, and it'll give you that day of the month you want your customers to pay their credit cards by. And their due date is going to be for around 21 days after that. Because back in 2009, there was a federal law passed called the SMART Act. And that mandates that credit card issuers must give you a 21-day grace period from when your statement actually closes until the due date. So that's when they report, is when the statement closes. Smart Credit, there's even an email button you can click at the top, and it'll just send an email to the customer and tell them pay your cards out by that day, and you see that day of the month. And that is beautiful. I don't think most people realize that. But
Yeah,
that is
that feature is really popular. We've had a lot of customers that have gotten their credit score up, 50 points, 80 points in less than a month. I mean, it's been some people it's like in 10 days, other people was a little bit more. But that feature, using that feature, can work really fast, depending on the person's credit situation and whether or not they can pay down those amounts, or they can just pay down little by little.
exactly.
We give them the
So they can
option of
strategize. Like I tell everyone, pay the
yeah.
credit cards first because credit cards have more of an impact, and get the ones that are the higher utilization down. But if you can put it on a calendar and really map it out, and if people that are in credit repair, you could be getting a ton of items deleted, but a lot of times their customers are just going to be looking at their scores. Hey, why are my scores going up? And that's all they see. And if you're getting a ton of items deleted, their utilization is high, no matter what you do, you're not going to see an increase. So it's very important to know.
Right. So Scott, I want to talk about how you've done some of your marketing because you told me some really fun stuff last week. So let's get into that.
My marketing? I have no marketing. That's the best part about it. Been in credit repair, I don't know, about, what year is it? 21, so that's about 8 or 9 years, something around like that. And I haven't spent a penny in advertising. I don't have any advertisements out to any to attract any customers, any mortgage brokers, nothing. I haven't done so in 7 years, 8 years, like really about a year after I got started. It's all been word of mouth since then. But how I did get started was very simple: LinkedIn and a cell phone. That's it. And all I would do is sit on LinkedIn and just literally just hit. I would search for mortgage brokers. I didn't care about anybody else. You're an auto dealership. You're a company that does business with great. I don't care. Unless I've talked to every single mortgage broker on the planet or in the United States, who cares? Because you want to go to where your best referral source is going to be for credit repair, and that's going to be your mortgage brokers, hands down. And it's just a free supply of leads of inbound calls. I don't want to call a bunch of people from Facebook all day and spend a bunch of money and deal with people that aren't that interested in talking to me most of the time. When I can have my phone literally ring off the hook. I mean, here's a folder of at least, 10, 15 people right now that have sent back their SmartCredit information and they want to go. I mean, they're serious. They want to buy a house. So all I did was hit connect on LinkedIn all day long, linked up with a bunch of mortgage brokers, and then reached out to all of them. And, I'd just do a blast them all with an email, and whoever replied back was interested, and I just communicate with them. And then after you do a really good job for people, then they're just gonna keep sending you people, because it's so hard to find a good credit repair company. And once they see that you do a good job and you get results and you're the real deal, they're not gonna go anywhere else. And I have people that have been with me for the whole time I've been in business. Yeah, you don't need to do all this crazy stuff and this and that. I mean, ultimately, I think, for everybody it's different, but it's kind of like it's a little bit different. You're like a high-priced attorney in a way, but you're not an attorney. It's like, people come to you like you're the figure of authority, you're the expert. And, I just think it's a much better way to do things. I tried doing call centers before. I've done that before. And if you can have inbound where people pay you more money and much more serious and go thank you at the end and refer their friends and family for all my business comes from, I mean, the word spreads like wildfire. You can believe it. Every day, it amazes me that 7, 8 years later, still, my phone will not stop ringing
That's
all
great.
day with inbound calls of new mortgage brokers and new customers. It's crazy. I
And
need to actually
Scott,
hire some more sales reps. So if anybody's watching and you need a job, call me.
I think also too, I mean, you did a great job with connecting with mortgage brokers and generating those relationships. So now, I mean, you've never had to spend a penny on advertising, but there's also other people that you guys can connect with that would be really great referral sources, because you've also got realtors. How many hundreds of thousands are there of those? You've also got financial advisors. These are people that are helping their clients with their finances. Well, credit is part of your finances. Even if you have okay credit, you can have great credit, because the difference in the savings that you'll have on your loans is huge. So there's a lot of people that you can develop relationships with, and that's your marketing. And that doesn't cost you a dollar. I mean, it costs you time, and time is money, but at the end of the day, you invested that time and you've grown a successful business, and here you are 8 years later, still not really having to advertise. You're just working through your network, and that's great.
Yeah. I mean, would you rather have inbound calls or outbound?
Yeah, and plus those calls will typically go a lot better than cold calls or people that responded to an ad. And that's not to say that advertising is not effective. It is, but the quality of the conversation that you're going to have with a referral versus somebody who opted into an ad is night and day.
That's why I'm going to start doing advertising for mortgage brokers that need to partner with a credit repair company. Because that's somebody that'll it's like the gift that keeps on giving, right? So do you want
Right.
a one-time deal, or do you want to get someone who's going to keep sending you people? I mean, that'll send me an advertisement for.
Right. So, what would you say are some of the biggest mistakes that you see other credit restoration companies making?
Oh, geez, where do I start?
At the
Gosh,
beginning.
I could be here all night. So, not taking credit cards in the beginning. We didn't know any better. You're going to make mistakes, but as long as you learn from it, Getting a software was important. Once you start dealing with a bunch of customers, you obviously want to use the software. There's a bunch out there. I use Credit Repair Cloud. Just I try to it's just user friendly, and it works great with SmartCredit. And obviously, another mistake was not having. Again, this is years ago. I feel kind of stupid saying it all now. Like, did you really do that? It's like, yep, I did. Not having credit monitoring, which I got to be honest, I have tested a lot of the other ones out there, and I have to say, hands down, no question about it. Smart Credit just blows everybody else out of the water.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, as far as commission, as far as features, I mean, the co-brand portal, you can literally, you can deactivate accounts. You can go in and if you need to, change an email address or if you need to credit somebody back a credit monitoring fee, you can do so. I mean, the amount of control that you're given. I mean, I remember working with other credit repair companies where you didn't have that. If somebody needs something, you have to pick up the phone and call the company and get someone on the line and deal with all of that. Or the thing I hate the most is that their password is then you got to deal with. I mean, it's a nightmare. When you have that much control over it, and you're giving them even more benefits and more features, that's wonderful. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's a big one.
So the credit monitoring is big. What are the mistakes? I'm sure there's more, but those were kind of the biggest ones.
Yeah, and hey guys, I see a lot of people putting comments into the, well, depending on, I believe it's on YouTube. So if anybody has any questions for Scott, let us know. We've only got a limited amount of time, so if you have questions, put them in there and we'll answer them live in the call right now. I do see Wolf has a question here. Is there a web portal for Smart Credit that has training on it and more? Yes, there is. So actually, Wolf, when you become a partner, we provide you training on the features and also the back end, how to use your co-brand. So absolutely. If anybody else has questions, let us know. And also, be mindful of what we're talking about because at the end, you're going to have an opportunity to win a $50 Amazon gift card. We are going to ask you what was the best thing that you learned from today's interview, and whoever has the best answer, Scott is going to pick them, and you are going to get that $50 Amazon gift card. So make sure that you stay on live and answer us for that. So Scott, what advice would you give someone who is just getting started today in credit restoration? So obviously you're going to tell them to get Smart Credit, but what would you say, like as far as getting their business right and having success and actually getting
Very
clients
simple. Very simple. When you talk to people, because you're going to have to either talk to potential customers for credit repair, or you're going to talk to a referral partner that you're going to be pitching, like a mortgage broker or whoever. They can do business loans, like you said. I mean, I got a guy that does solar. I have a guy that does boat loans. They send people. So it could be any lending partner. But when you talk to people, it's very important that you sound like a figure of authority, know what you're talking about, and it's kind of like not what you say, it's how you say it.
So true.
And if you come across over the phone like that, you don't want to be, oh, no, uhs and and quiet. No, you want to just grab control, but you don't want to do it in a way to where you sound like a psycho at the same time. Like, you're yelling at the person. No, you can talk loud and you want to talk, like you're quick, you're on the ball, you're knowledgeable. You want to sound very knowledgeable. Heck, just go watch a couple YouTube videos of a couple experts in credit repair and see if you can say that sounds smart and say that too. It's not rocket science, right? Sound like you really know what you're talking about. That's number one. Number two, I always send an initial email that says more information. You'll have company name slash more information. I start with everything is simple. I said I'm gonna send you two emails. The first is more information. That's gonna have all the information about our company. For example, I would book on Amazon, called Credit Life, book on business credit, we already business credit, really well. We 5-star Google rating, Astro certified. There's also links to some radio appearances I've done. If you get bored with it, links on that. Some live appearances on stage. But then who's this? I know my featured partner interview on SmartCredit. It's all credibility, right? So you send that to a potential lead, or a mortgage, look at that and wow, see your 5-star, nothing like great reviews on Google. I mean, I just had so many people tell me they're like, yeah, all the reviews. I was like, okay, well, yeah. So you want to get that credibility factor out of the way. It's going to be one of your biggest rebuttals if you don't have anything to show them because you're going to be costing, you already take my money and not do anything, that's going to be a big concern. Once they see that you're reputable, then, just start have everyone that, give you a Google review. But have that, you can take that out of the way. Now, it'll just be an issue of the money, right? It's always about the money. They tell you, oh, well, I got to talk to, whatever they give you, it's about the money. It's always about the money. So I will, if they start giving me, they don't, give the credit card number, right away, or they something to, get you off the phone or whatnot, then I'll offer this. I'll say, oh, just so you know, since you were referred in from so and so at Century 21, we'll be able to split that payment. And then offer the split payment you have now and then have in 2 weeks. Whatever. You'd be surprised how many people jump on that right away. They're like, oh, okay, it makes sense. Because it's about the money, right? All of a sudden, whatever reason they had goes away. Even if I have to, I'll say, well, really, we just need a deposit, right? It's just, once the payment is in the system, it sends out the pay, and then they can take the remainder of the payment. And sometimes even if it's $20, $10, and they could get the credit card number and get them on board. Once they're on board, they're on board. At that point. If you don't get that credit card number and you hang up the phone, might as well just shut that payment.
So just to kind of put that into like a step 1, 2, 3. I love how simple it is and so effective. So step number 1 would be, get partnerships with people that could refer you a lot of clients. So we were talking mortgage brokers, realtors, anyone who does loans, any kind of loans. Also, financial advisors type of individuals. All these people are a really great source of referrals for you. So if you develop strong relationships, you'll have a lot of people giving you warm calls because once you get a referred person over, it's a much easier conversation. And then on top of that, you just didn't go off of the fact that you got a referral. You also went a step further and showed a ton of credibility with the reviews that you've collected and everything that you've done. You've given education and you're like, look, this is where this person was happy, this person was happy. So you gave them an overwhelming source of social proof. Because
right, like,
people at the end of the day.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, people at the end of the day, like they don't care about what you have to say. It's like what other people have to say. If a ton of other people are saying great things about you, that's the sale. And then the third thing is don't let them off the hook without the credit card. So if you have to split payments, do one payment per week or whatever you have to do, make sure that you collect that payment on that sales call. Otherwise, you risk not ever really probably seeing them again because people will talk themselves out of it.
Yeah, 2 things. Number 1, I wouldn't waste my time with anybody other than mortgage brokers, just because they're gonna be the ones that are the most serious. I've tried them all. Yeah, you can, but I wouldn't focus on. I would stick to just trying mortgage broker. If you get other people that happen to come to you, okay, fine. But I wouldn't just start calling realtors because at the end of the day, they're realtors. The mortgage brokers are the ones that actually handle the actual loan. And number 2, with the one payment a week. I wouldn't do that. No, I would do just anything not to get them off the phone, like 10 or $20, even if you have to. I mean, usually if I'll try to get like half or $100 or 50. This is like last, resort, right? Get one of those payments, and then you split the initial payment. So it's like you get the remainder of the first payment, and then the second payment, like 2 weeks, never more than 30 days, the second payment. Very rarely have I done 3 payments. I think maybe once or twice. Now I have let some people off the phone, but that's because I could tell that the person was absolutely like, you get a feel for it. They were really serious, and if I really pushed it, then it would have like, you get a feel for it after a while. So it doesn't necessarily have to be every single time, but kind of like rare exceptions, like unless I know the person is dead serious, they really are. I want to. So I know it sounds silly, like 1 payment a week, but that kind of thing, I've tested everything, so I kind of have a feel for what actually works.
Right. So now I'm going to ask you the last questions because we're coming up on time. If anybody has questions that's watching live, make sure you get your questions in now. And I'll also have you put in what is the number one thing that you learned during today's interview while I ask Scott this last question. So Scott, is there any reading or training that you recommend to help someone who's starting out or who's probably struggling in their business?
Sure. As far as training, number one bit of information I would give people, especially if you have referrals coming from mortgage brokers, and tell them, hey, this is something that probably actually most mortgage brokers don't even know. When you go to buy a house, the credit scores that are used are not the ones you see in Credit Karma. They're not the ones that your credit card company gives you for free, your FICO score, right? You have many different FICO scores, number one. When people ask me, what's your FICO score? I say, which one, right? Because this is what you can say when you're pitching a lead, is explain to them. There's Vantage scores and there's FICO scores, right? So Vantage scores was made by the credit bureaus. It's used, billions of times a year. In fact, the recent COVID loan, they used for small businesses, they use Vantage scores. FICO is a company that they actually, a lot of lenders use their scores, but you have a different score for auto, credit card, mortgages, insurance. There's a bunch. There's many different FICO score models. And the scores used to buy a house are FICO version 5 for Equifax, version 2 for Experian, and version 4 for TransUnion. That's it. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and Manage, where you have to use those algorithms. Doesn't matter where you go. You could talk to any mortgage broker in the country. They're all going to use those same score models. Okay, so it's the only industry where you have to use a certain score model. If you go to apply for a credit card, yes, most companies, or a lot, will use FICO Bank Card Score 8, but like Chase, they have their own internal score they use sometimes. They don't even need to use the FICO. So it's going to vary all over the place, and your FICO scores can vary up to 100 points. You could go to get a credit card, you could have a 780. You could go to buy a car, and it could say you have a 680. So those 3 score models, you can only get those at myfico.com to buy a house, right? So that's what I would say. Now, how knowledgeable do you sound telling a lead that or telling a mortgage broker that? Because a lot of mortgage brokers will say, oh, wow, I didn't even know that. And they're a mortgage broker.
That's crazy.
So, you tell them that, and now you sound like, you're the best thing since sliced bread, right? And now they're going to send you some people. So have something to say that's relevant, that they didn't know, that they're like, wow, that's actually really interesting. I'm sure a lot of people listening didn't know that. Now they know. And that's very important. So you tell them, so once we get some items removed, we're gonna, we'll pull your scores again, and we'll be able to know exactly where we are, if we're at that middle score or mid score, which is what they look for, not the highest score, not the lowest score, the one in the middle. Usually they want it at a 620 or 640 or 680. Something about that, but that's something you can do. Now, as far as training, there's lots of Facebook groups that are out there. You can join. I was thinking of maybe starting one, but I don't know. It's just, I don't know if there's enough hours in the day. But there are some good Facebook groups out there. There's Stephen Palmieri, Matt Listro have one. It's called Pre-Litigation Dispute that's out there. And also, if you join any of the software, like any of the Credit Repair Cloud, there's the software that they have. Also, there's an app. It's called 30dayscra.com, and that connects to Credit Repair Cloud. and you can like literally just click a button and it'll send out all the letters, certified or regular, through lob.com that it connects it. And they have a training group as well in there. So there's so many out there. The software companies will have a group, and then there's also other groups that are out there on Facebook. There's a lot of Facebook groups. You just got to be careful though, because sometimes in some of the groups, there's people just repeating things that they have heard, and they're not necessarily accurate. So you want to always just make sure you keep the information in your head, but always do your own research, always verify. And honestly, some really good research is nclc.org. It's a consumer, it's for attorneys, and it's all the consumer laws that are out there, but there's a digital version. And you can actually see the laws regarding everything, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, Fair Credit Billing. I mean, everything to do with consumer law, repossessions. I learned so many things like, you have to send the customer a notice of sale before you can repo the vehicle and all these things. If not, then you can argue that most states are not allowed to collect on the balance. Like just so much stuff. I was like, wow. Not for practicing law or pretending to be an attorney or anything like that, but I mean, it helps to know what the law actually says. And that's a good resource as well. So there's a lot out there. You just gotta do your own research, ask around, and just be careful what you hear with other people. Do your own research, verify it for yourself, make sure it's true. It always comes back to the law. I mean, but sometimes it's hard to read the law, and that's why I like the NCLC, because it explains it in normal human terms.
Yeah, reading law text can be a huge headache. Whenever I have to do that, I'm just like, oh my god, I don't understand this.
Yeah, it's hard. So that's why, and that's what the group that I'm in with Stephen Palmieri is a good one, because there's also several attorneys in there as well. And it's like instant attorneys on demand for credit repair. Like you just ask a question, and there's attorneys that are like right there just to come right back and answer it. So that's really cool. I mean, that's valuable, because attorneys obviously are, if they're a consumer attorney, then they know credit repair. That's obviously probably one of the best resources that you can actually get.
Right. Well, looks like we're at time. I don't see that we have any questions, but I do see that we've got a couple people that put in their biggest takeaways. So, Scott, are you able to see the stream of questions on your end?
Yeah.
Or the comments? You've got to pick one.
What is your biggest takeaway from today's interview? That's all I see.
Are you able to see on like the right hand side the answers?
I see private chat. Oh, I had to click on the comments tab next to it. Okay, got it. So yes, now I see everything. So okay, so I'm sorry, I didn't see this. Let's see. I see Cedric Carr comment.
Yeah, so the last two, you've got to pick your best one, and then we'll close out the interview because we're at 33 minutes. So we usually stick to about 30 minutes or so.
Cedric's in the same Facebook group we were talking about. It's called Credit Repair Pre-Litigation Dispute Training Support Group. Credit Repair is a Facebook group. You type in Credit Repair Pre-Litigation Dispute Training Course. So Stephen Palmieri. I'm going to pick a question.
No, you got to pick the biggest takeaway. So the bottom two are the two answers that we've got.
Biggest takeaway: get a good credit monitoring service like SmartCredit. Is scoring model is being used. Actually, there's one more takeaway I didn't mention. I'll do it real quick. Your customers must have an open credit card. Okay, because if you have monitoring with SmartCredit and you're seeing anything deleted and you're checking the scores on SmartCredit, you're getting deleted, the scores aren't going up, check if they have an open credit card, not a scorecard, any SmartCredit card, right? Like a scorecard, like a Macy's card or something like that. Not that, an actual credit card. Without an open credit card, your scores won't ever go up. So you have to have an open credit card. So if you don't have it, if you can't get a proof of one, you can go to Credit Builder Card. Is one that'll $200, and it gets in the report quick within 5 to 6 days. That's very, very important because a lot of times people get frustrated because they're getting items deleted and they're looking on that smart credit and waiting for the big jump and it doesn't happen. So it's because they don't have an open credit card. So make sure they get one, creditbuildercard.com/SW group. That'll have a little splash page for me. But it's first progress. Just go get that. And Discover has a good one too. Okay, so I would say out of these two, good monitoring service and scoring model being used. Oh, well, I mean, that's easy. I mean, good monitoring service like SmartCredit, duh. I mean, it's like literally, I mean, they have the insurance policy, then I hook them up with, I go into settings, I hook up their cell phone to get the credit alerts, but also the banking alerts. And if you have them add their checking account, you really use that money manager, they'll keep the service. And you want them to keep, I mean, the residual income you make from having a service like Smart Credit, I mean, my God, like I was making what, like 3, 4, $5 maybe before? And then Smart Credit comes along and it's like $15. I'm like, whoa, like this can't be real. This is gonna
That
be
can go a
true.
long way. 2 times more.
Well, like when I first saw it, I didn't even bother looking because I thought it was some. I was like, "There's no way this has." And I didn't even think it was like it's too good to be true. It's not true. And then I actually went to a fair conference. And I forget who was in that, but then I saw it and I went up and I'm looking. This is amazing. I mean, I wish I would have known about this 2 years ago. I mean,
Well, we're here now, so we're
like,
all
yeah, like
good.
I'm saying right now, I mean, making money thousands of dollars a month off people from like 8 years ago, like 7 years ago. Like, how crazy is that? Not with
Residual income.
you. But I'm doing great. I know that.
Well, Scott, thank you so much for your time tonight. We've gone a little bit over, and really appreciate you being here and sharing with us some of the strategies that have helped you become very successful in this industry. And thank you, everybody who watched us live. Be sure to watch us next month, always the last Tuesday of the month. And next month, we have a special treat. We're actually doing 2 partner spotlights because our partner that we're interviewing is bilingual. So we will be doing a Spanish partner spotlight on the 15th, and then I believe that the last Tuesday of the month is the 28th. So on the 28th will be the regular one in English, but we will be having a Spanish one next month. So be sure to tune in. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.